The most noble and handsome young master of the Xie family in Wangjing, had nothing to do with me, but one day, he suddenly grabbed my sleeve, his eyes red. There's still time, we haven't divorced yet, in this life, let's start over. I was gnawing on a braised pork knuckle when I froze for a moment before saying, but I wasn't planning to marry you either. Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. Xiaoyu, flawless jade. So enticing it makes one's mouth water. He is the ideal husband countless young maidens dream of marrying. Among them is my elder sister, Qinjing Xian. She declared that Lord Xie would surely rise to the highest ranks of officials, and she was determined to compete for his hand. Xiaoyu had a cold demeanor and showed no warmth to anyone. One day, my elder sister by birth unexpectedly fell into the water. When she woke up, she suddenly slapped me and said, "You stupid love-struck fool. Don't you dare like Xiaoyu. Don't you dare marry him." I stared at her in complete bewilderment. You can insult yourself all you want, but how could you hit me? Besides, it's not like I can just marry Xiaoyu whenever I feel like it. The Xie family is a prestigious century-old aristocratic household. Not even a princess could necessarily marry into that family. Before I could regain my composure, the stepmother had already dragged my stepsister out. How dare you hit your sister? Have you lost your mind? Your sister hasn't even been married off yet. My elder sister suddenly burst into laughter. Good, excellent. She laughed until tears nearly streamed from her eyes. She got up, her clothes still damp, and immediately embraced me in her arms. Thank heavens, my Azu is still unmarried, in this lifetime. I won't let you marry that scoundrel again. My elder sister pulled me and our mother into the room and dismissed the servants. After taking a deep breath, she began to speak slowly. She said she was reborn, previous life. I tripped at the banquet and fell straight into Xiaoyu's arms. All I saw was Xiaoyu, graceful and elegant, with features as beautiful as a painting. He instinctively caught me, and we spun around in place. Then we both fell to the ground, with me on top and him beneath. Xiaoyu didn't feel a flutter in his heart, neither did I. Mother Xie was moved. She saw how I knocked Xiaoyu to the ground, quite robustly. I have a plump and rosy appearance, with a broad face and ample hips, ideal for childbearing. The Xie family has only one heir, and concubinage is forbidden, leaving their lineage sparse. So, she went against all opposition and proposed marriage to my family. 7 years after the wedding, Xiaoyu gave me a divorce letter. He said there was no romantic love between us. Hearing this, I nodded and said, "That's about what I expected. Xiaoyu and I really don't seem like people who could live together." My stepmother suddenly asked, "Does Azu have any children?" My elder sister was silent for a moment before saying, "Yes, there are 3, all were left at the Xie family." In shock, the braised pork knuckle in my hand fell onto my elder sister's skirt. The new skirt instantly became greasy and fragrant. Instead of scolding me, my elder sister tenderly cradled my not-so-small head in her hands. 3 pieces of char siu, let's not mention them again. In the end, under the stern gazes of my stepmother and elder sister, I knelt and swore an oath. This lifetime, I'd rather marry a pig than Xiaoyu. I'd rather go through menopause than give birth to a dimwit. Several months later, my elder sister kept me by her side, avoiding every possible occasion where Xiaoyu might appear, overthinking it. Xiaoyu and I are worlds apart. The young master of the Xie family, a close confidant of the emperor, the pride of heaven, and me, a half-legitimate daughter of the Qin family. Plain in appearance, lazy and gluttonous, we met at a banquet in the past. He was surrounded by stars, never once glancing at me in the corner. Moreover, for 7 years, Xiaoyu has said he doesn't like me, even if we bumped into each other. So what? My elder sister said meaningfully, "You're still young, you wouldn't understand. Though he doesn't like you, that didn't stop him from sleeping with you for 7 years. As she spoke, she snorted through her nostrils, as if her disgust for Xiaoyu grew even stronger. If he's also been reborn, who's to say he won't harm you all over again? Rebirth is not like a pound of meat, you can't just grow it at will. It's not something everyone has." At that time, I scoffed at the idea. Along the way, I encountered noble ladies I once clashed with. My elder sister, who usually kept her distance, unexpectedly greeted me with a smile. After those noble ladies left, my elder sister sighed and said, "In this grand dream of life, they are all unfortunate souls." But when she heard that a cousin from the Xie family had sent his daughter to join us, her face darkened. That family was far away in the south of the Yangtze River. their fortunes having declined, shamelessly. They sent their marriageable daughter to the capital, hoping to secure a good match. The young woman, named Xinxingji, was delicate and frail, yet her back was straight as if she possessed an unyielding spirit, making her appear particularly pitiable. Lady Xia, kind-hearted, took her in. My elder sister rolled her eyes. She didn't say anything, nor was I interested in asking. Spring days are long and slow. The spring scenery is bright and cheerful. Good days pass by extremely quickly, in the blink of an eye. It was the day my elder sister had been guarding against with all her might, the Empress Dowager's birthday banquet. A satin ribbon was tied around my waist, its other end tightly gripped in my elder sister's hand. She watched the water clock, counting down to the moment in our past lives when Xiaoyu and I collided. After a long while, she let out a long sigh. It seems it's over now. I was practically suffocating. The satin ribbon binding my waist was untied. I went to the restroom. But just around the corner, I saw someone. A gentleman is like jade, so beautiful it made me forget myself. The moment they saw me, their gaze froze for an instant. As I brushed past him, he called out to stop me, "Chen Anju. Do you dislike me so much that you won't even look at me?" I turned back in confusion, locking eyes with the young master. He frowned and said, "Why pretend with me? You've deliberately avoided meeting me multiple times. Isn't it because you don't want to see me again like in your past life? Unfortunately, you didn't get your wish." Hearing these ambiguous words, I suddenly understood. So he was Xiaoyu. He looked like an immortal. My elder sister was mistaken. It wasn't him sleeping with me for 7 years. It was me sleeping with him for 7 years. Seeing my silence, Xiaoyu's voice grew colder. "Are you really avoiding me like the plague, not even willing to say a word to me?" His clenched hand showed white knuckles, his sharp eyes fixed on me with displeasure. "I really need to pee, bro, and my elder sister doesn't approve of me talking to you." I took off running. Xiaoyu's voice trailed behind me. "Chen Anju, we were once husband and wife. Even if I've wronged you in some way, does that mean we can't even remain friends?" His slender figure stood there, seemingly carrying a hint of grievance. I truly couldn't understand what he was trying to achieve, so eager to be friends with me. After returning to the banquet, I truthfully reported my encounter with Xiaoyu. My elder sister crushed her wine cup, laughing coldly. Her murderous gaze pierced through the curtain separating the men's and women's seating areas. On the other side of the curtain, not far away, there was a graceful figure dressed in white. It was unmistakably Xiaoyu. I kept my head down, eating my food, not daring to make a sound. The banquet had gone on for 3 rounds. A woman arrived fashionably late, with a willowy grace. She made a delicate bow, instantly hushing the men's seating area for a brief moment. She introduced herself. It was none other than Xinxingji, a cousin from the Xie family. She was extremely eloquent and soon had several noble ladies singing her praises. Everyone praised her as a talented woman. Xinxingji quickly added, "In terms of talent and learning, I am not even 1/10,000th as good as my cousin. I haven't seen my cousin these days. When I was in Jiangnan, I heard that my cousin is exceptionally talented, a rare gentleman in this world," which filled me with admiration. If only I could meet him. Her voice was clear and melodious, neither hurried nor slow. Behind the curtain, the figure in white paused slightly while raising his cup. Obviously, these words reached Xiaoyu's ears. My elder sister scoffed lightly, putting on airs. Suddenly, inspiration struck me. Could it be? Is she the reason for the divorce between Xiaoyu and me? This conjecture was further confirmed when Xiaoyu stopped me and my elder sister. He said, "Chen Anju, you didn't give Xinxingji a hard time just now, did you?" "I've already told you, it has nothing to do with her." Before I could speak, my elder sister had already pulled me behind her. Her acting was flawless, leaving no room for doubt. Her expression was a mix of 3 parts confusion, 3 parts anger, 3 parts protectiveness, and 1 part fear. "Lord Xie, how could you address my sister by her personal name so casually? My sister is not yet married. What if her reputation is ruined because of this?" Xiaoyu was stunned. He had come in such a hurry that he only now realized this was no longer his past life. His gaze lingered on my face for several moments, but he could detect no expression other than confusion, wondering, "What's wrong with this person? Please behave yourself, Lord Xia." With that, my elder sister tried to pull me away. Xiaoyu instinctively reached out to grab my sleeve. I leaped 3 feet away in a single bound, scurrying to the other side of my sister and hiding behind her like a chick sheltering under a mother hen. Xiaoyu's expression instantly stiffened. Do you really hate it that much when I touch you? I nodded firmly, without hesitation. Xiaoyu said with a darkened face, then these 7 years of sharing my bed must have been truly difficult for you. As soon as his words fell, my elder sister slapped him across the face. My elder sister said furiously, preposterous, young Master Xia, if you continue to tarnish my sister's reputation like this, I will surely take you to court. Xiaoyu tilted his head to one side. It seemed my elder sister had used all her strength, holding nothing back. Before Xiaoyu could react, my elder sister and I had already seized the opportunity to walk away. After this incident, Xiaoyu seemed to believe that I had not been reborn. He sent someone to apologize, saying he had been drunk and confused that day. The gift was a jade bracelet worth a fortune, as expected of the young master of the Xie family. Xiaoyu is truly generous, but then my elder sister said, what bad luck. In your past life, you bore him 3 sons, yet he never gave you anything. What nonsense. As the lady of the Xie household, you have professionals to buy any jewelry you desire, no need for him to gift you anything. Yet he turns around and showers his cousin with all sorts of things. Now he's putting on a show of being considerate. I had someone pawn the bracelet and exchange it for silver. That way, it won't bring bad luck anymore. A few days later, Xiaoyu came again to request a meeting, saying he wanted to apologize in person. I naturally didn't agree. My elder sister said, we have accepted young Master Xia's gifts, but an in-person apology is unnecessary. Let's consider this matter settled. But Xiaoyu wouldn't give up. Perhaps he came to confirm whether I had truly been reborn. When he visited again, my elder sister turned him away at the door. Through the closed door, he said, Miss Qin II, Xia sincerely apologizes. Would you grant me the honor of an audience? My elder sister raised her voice. Lord Xia, my younger sister already has someone in her heart and has no intention of meeting you. If you continue like this, you will tarnish my sister's reputation. Xiaoyu's voice suddenly fell silent. My elder sister, fearing he wouldn't believe her, continued, that man will soon come to propose marriage on an auspicious day. Young Master Xia, you must leave quickly. Outside the door, silence lingered for a long while. Before leaving, Xiaoyu said, no need to make such excuses. If second Miss Qin doesn't wish to meet, then so be it. I owe you. If there's anything you need help with in the future, I'll do my utmost. This debt certainly doesn't refer to those 2 offensive remarks from a few days ago. It's those 7 years from the past life. After that day, Xiaoyu never appeared again. My elder sister still couldn't rest easy. She took my mother by the hand and truly began seeking potential suitors for me. At the same time, in the tea house, someone started talking about Xiaoyu and Xinxingji. Xinxingji encountered harassment from ruffians. Just as Xiaoyu happened to pass by and played the hero to save the beauty, moved to tears, Xinxingji gifted him a poem. Xiaoyu, pitying the fair maiden, spent the following days inseparable from her, attending banquets together. As for me, I met with several suitors in succession, yet none caught my eye. My elder sister wouldn't give up and asked me what exactly was unsatisfactory. I couldn't quite explain, only saying they weren't half as important as braised pork knuckle. Perhaps there was no chemistry. After pondering for a few days, my elder sister sent someone to Jiangnan to find a man surnamed Wei. She said that Wei Nanting would only go to the capital to take the imperial exams and achieve success several years later. Later, after my divorce, I lived alone, and he happened to live next door, taking good care of me. She said that by then, she had already moved away with her husband's family and didn't know the details between me and Wei Nanting. Although his family background is somewhat lacking, if you truly like him, I will definitely help you. I responded half-heartedly. Probably some poor scholar, but when the person was actually brought before me, my jaw dropped in shock. The meeting place was a pavilion in the middle of a lake. The newcomer stood 9 feet tall, clad in a short jacket. His exposed arms were knotted with muscles, his back broad like a tiger's and his waist narrow like a wasp's. Tall and powerfully built, his dark, honest face broke into a smile, revealing a set of gleaming white teeth. Seeing me dumbstruck, my elder sister added, martial arts champion. After saying this, my elder sister gracefully walked away, leaving only me standing there in a daze. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. A long moment passed. Wei Nanting pointed at the empty plate and spoke up. He stammered but said something astonishing. Miss Qin, you really can eat, you're amazing. It was the first time someone had praised me like that. I smiled shyly. Thank you, I think so too. I reached for another pastry, only to find the plate empty, and awkwardly withdrew my hand. I sipped my tea, fiddling with my bracelet, then with my hairpin. Suddenly, the pearl from my hairpin came loose and rolled away. I watched as it tumbled into a pool of lake water, before I could react. Wei Nanting jumped in without a second thought. The splash was as loud as a boulder being hurled. The water splashed all over my face. The maid hurriedly went to find help, while I lay by the lake shouting Wei Nanting's name. Not long after, a distinctly bony hand emerged from the water, firmly gripping the shore. Splash, a sound. Wei Nanting darted out like a black fish, almost colliding with me, who was staring at the lake surface. His short jacket had come undone. Water droplets trickling down from his sharp jawline, his well-defined chest and firm abs slightly heaving. For some reason, it made one blush. I quickly said, "It's fine if you can't find it. I have plenty of hairpins." Wei Nanting smiled. Like a big dog seeking praise, he opened his palm, revealing that tiny pearl. "Here you go." My mind exploded with the image of a roasted suckling pig as I stared at him blankly. He seemed, just slightly, more tempting than a braised pork knuckle now. Time seemed to stand still. The maidservants watched from afar, not daring to disturb. Xiaoyu appeared at this very moment. Xiaoyu, awakening from the dream as rain falls on banana leaves, thunder roared. Xiaoyu suddenly woke with a start. He clutched his chest. Listening to the rain outside, he had dreamed of his past life. He had asked for a divorce. Chen Anju didn't press the matter. He breathed a sigh of relief. The second day after the divorce, he went to pay his respects to Lady Xie as usual. Xie's mother refused to see him. She was still angry. She had liked Chen Anju as her daughter-in-law, but since Xiaoyu had decided on a divorce, it must have been something he had considered for a long time, with no room for reversal. Xinqingji called him over, more tender and affectionate than usual, her cheeks flushed, her makeup exquisite, her eyes sparkling with emotion. Xiaoyu felt a slight stir in his heart, but with official duties pressing, he did not linger long. His relationship with Xinqingji was entirely proper. When he brought up the separation, this was what he had said to Chen Anju: "They are confidants, friends, not that kind of sordid relationship." Chen Anju's elder sister, Chen Jingxian, specifically wrote a letter to scold him and Xinqingji. When the servant handed the letter to him, he opened it and took a glance. The entire letter was filled with curses, written with such force that the words seemed to carve into the paper. It doesn't seem like something written by someone who's been ill for a long time. The second month after the divorce, Chen Anju still hadn't appeared. Xiaoyu had already grown accustomed to such days. Except when changing clothes, he unconsciously called out, "Chen Anju." Naturally, there was no response. The maidservant dared not answer either. The second year after the divorce, Xiaoyu suddenly thought of Chen Anju again. This was the 5th time this month he had thought of Chen Anju. Not much. But only 2 days had passed this month. The dishes on the table were very light. This was his dietary preference. Quite different from Chen Anju's love for rich, meaty dishes. It wasn't just dietary preferences. There were countless other ways in which he differed from Chen Anju. They were completely different kinds of people. He frowned and said, "Why is there no braised pork knuckle?" Chen Anju wouldn't be able to eat her fill like this. After saying this, even he himself was stunned. At that very moment, a servant announced that Xinqingji requested an audience. Xiaoyu instinctively asked, "What is she here for?" The servant was somewhat puzzled. In the past, when the young lady came to see Xiaoyu, she never gave a reason, and Xiaoyu would always let her in. The servant quickly replied, "I'll go ask the young lady." Xiaoyu waved his hand, "Don't ask, let her go. I don't have time to see her." These days, Xinqingji came every other day, of course. It wasn't for anything important either to discuss poetry with him or to remind him to wear more clothes in the cold weather. A gentle companion to share his quiet moments. If he were to remarry, it should be a woman like this, not someone like Chen Anju. This was what he thought before proposing the divorce. Of course, I still think so now. As he stepped out, he overheard someone gossiping. "That young widow on East Street has remarried." Xiaoyu came to an abrupt halt. How could a widow remarry? It seemed he had never considered the possibility that Chen Anju might remarry. That night, he couldn't resist any longer and sent someone to inquire about Chen Anju's recent situation. The servant who returned with news said Chen Anju was no longer in Wangjing. The eldest daughter of the Chen family, who had been living alone in Qingzhou for many years to recuperate, passed away suddenly 3 months ago. The second daughter of the Chen family went to attend the funeral. According to her neighbors, the second daughter of the Chin family has no intention of returning. She didn't leave alone when she departed. Xiaoyu snapped the writing brush in half. She won't come back. That night, he sat until dawn. He couldn't understand. Why could Chin Anju be so heartless that she hadn't come to see him for so long, so heartless that she even abandoned their 3 sons, just like that, she left with someone else, no matter how much she disliked him. She was still the child's mother and shouldn't have been so indifferent. A grand dream. Fortunately, it was only a past life in the dream. He won't delay Chen Anju anymore, nor will Chen Anju dislike him. He doesn't believe that Chen Anju isn't reborn. If she weren't reborn, how could she have avoided meeting him time and time again? Of course, he also avoided it without prior agreement, with the emotional foundation from their past lives. Though they couldn't be husband and wife, they could still be friends, or perhaps confidants, just like in the dream where he and Xinqingji were. At this thought, he couldn't help but curl the corners of his lips. Chen Anju and the term confidant seemed utterly incompatible. Yet he found himself somewhat addicted to the way she quietly listened to him while stuffing food into her mouth. He mused that being close friends with her would probably be quite a pleasant experience. But why does he always want to seek her out? The banana leaves rustle, drip, drip, drop. The rain falls until dawn. At dawn, he decided to go look for Chen Anju. The blush on my face had yet to fade. When Xiaoyu saw Wei Nanting, fury suddenly flared in his eyes, with resentment in his tone. He said, "In my past life, when I proposed separation, you didn't hesitate at all. Did you already have someone else in your heart?" Xiaoyu's eyes reddened, as if he had suffered immense emotional pain. "Yet my elder sister clearly told me. He was the one who fell in love with someone else. Xiaoyu didn't marry me out of love. He disliked that I couldn't play instruments, chess, or paint, nor compose poetry with him. For the first 2 years, every time we shared a bed, he looked as if going to battle. His face grim. Fortunately, he later acquired a taste for it, or perhaps, grew accustomed. Xiaoyu and I managed to raise 3 sons together. In contrast, Xinqingji was different from me. She seemed like a wife tailor-made for him, perfectly suited to his every preference. According to my elder sister, I was madly in love with Xiaoyu. The first time I stumbled upon Xiaoyu and Xinqingji drinking together under the moonlight, I sensed something was amiss. Xiaoyu didn't offer me a single word of explanation. After the first time came the second, the third, and countless more. Sometimes it was in the plum garden on the outskirts of the city, other times at the poetry club. In short, always in refined and elegant places. They are each other's confidants, smiling at one another. They might not have reached that point yet. So, when Xiaoyu mentioned divorce to me, he was very self-righteous. He said he hadn't done anything to wrong me. Xinqingji has done nothing to wrong me. Their relationship is completely innocent. It's just that he realized his true feelings. He simply doesn't love me. My 3 sons said that Aunt Shin resembles a noble lady more than I do, while I'm truly too unrefined to be presentable. And so, I signed the divorce papers. On the day I left the CF family, not a single person came to see me off. When I heard it, I was utterly shocked. I couldn't imagine falling in love with someone like Xiaoyu. Could it be that all feelings are born from sleeping together? Then this time I absolutely refused to sleep with him. At this moment, Xiaoyu still wanted to say something, but I grabbed Wei Nanting's hand and ran. My elder sister said that I must only interact with Xiaoyu in her presence. When she's not around, I naturally can't pay any attention to Xiaoyu. Wei Nanting may look big and strong, but he's very obedient and didn't ask a single question. As we ran, he hoisted me onto his shoulders. I point where, and he runs there. I took a moment to glance back at Xiaoyu. He stood alone in place, like a discarded dog. Returning to the Chin household, my elder sister asked Wei Nanting, "What do you think of my sister Azu?" Wei Nanting's dark face flushed red, rustic yet handsome. "The second young lady is the very best." My elder sister nodded in satisfaction and questioned him in detail for a long while. Confirmed that both his parents are deceased. His background is clean. He has no childhood betrothal, no childhood sweetheart, no cousins, and no unattainable love. It left me utterly stunned. After receiving a satisfactory answer, my elder sister asked Wei Nanting, "In the future, I will use Aju's pocket money to support you. Once you achieve success in the imperial examinations, you must repay her 1,000-fold. As for whether it's repaid with silver or something else, you can discuss that among yourselves." With that, she ordered someone to bring forth a contract. before I could react, Wei Nanting had already signed and sealed it. Only after Wei Nanting left did I muster the courage to speak. Sister, I didn't, since he arrived. You've even forgotten to nibble on your dried vegetable and braised pork pancake. What else could I possibly not see through? I twisted the handkerchief and said, I was just thinking, he looks so big and strong, with a crispy outer layer, seems quite delicious. Could this possibly be the feeling of joy in Wei Nanting's eyes? Do I look like a plain steamed bun to him? My elder sister left with an indescribable expression on her face. I had thought that Xiaoyu, who appeared so aloof, would stop coming if I ignored him. Unexpectedly, he became somewhat persistent. After my elder sister was reborn, she became extremely busy, but she no longer focused her energy on needlework, accounting, or poetry and music. She said that life is short, just a few decades. And learning these things is a waste of time. She hoarded food, provided for children, and even funded merchant caravans to search for various rare medicinal herbs. Her father initially had some objections, but after a long talk with the legal wife and her legitimate sister, he stopped interfering with her. As for the legitimate sister's marriage, according to the legitimate sister, in her previous life, she married the young master of the Wang family, as she had anticipated. That man later rose to the rank of third-grade official. Just like in her previous life, the Wang family came to propose marriage. I peeked from behind the screen and saw my former brother-in-law, handsome, tall, and dignified, with profound knowledge, yet, for some reason, my elder sister refused this time. My father politely declined, saying he wished to keep my elder sister by his side for another 2 years. Upon hearing this, young Master Wang was somewhat surprised. Although my elder sister had taken a liking to Xiaoyu before, she understood the principle of not putting all her eggs in one basket. Xiaoyu was like the moon in the sky, most likely beyond her reach. This young Master Wang was the first choice of the legitimate sister. Naturally, young Master Wang had not only interacted with the legitimate sister. When young Master Wang left, there was a trace of unwillingness in his eyes. The next day, he arranged to meet with the legitimate sister. The legitimate elder sister burned his letter and sent a servant to relay the message. Just say, I have no time to see him. Young Master Wang is a smart man and will naturally understand my meaning. I asked my legitimate elder sister if young Master Wang had done something in their past life to wrong her. Unexpectedly, she shook her head. He did nothing to wrong me. He gave me the status of a principal wife, only took concubines after 5 years of my childlessness, and never favored concubines over his wife. But, the elder sister curled her lips into a faint smile, but later, when I fell ill, he sent me to Qingzhou to recuperate without hesitation, and didn't delay in taking a second wife of equal status. He truly did nothing wrong by me. He simply took every step that was most advantageous to himself. From ancient times to the present, men have always been like this. They seem to instinctively know what choices to make at what time to benefit themselves. I didn't have as many reflections as my elder sister. I only caught the key point. She had fallen ill. My birth mother passed away during a difficult childbirth, and since my birth, I've been registered under my stepmother's name. It's said that my birth mother was once my father's childhood sweetheart. There are gossips saying that my stepmother is bound to ruin me, but if I could lie idle for a lifetime, that would be something many people could only dream of. Even if I were more diligent and hardworking, I would merely go from being Mrs. Zhang Chen to Mrs. Li Chen or Mrs. Xie Chen, bearing fruit for others and letting them reap the rewards. Since childhood, my elder sister has always protected me. I have no great ambitions and am already quite content. I clutched at my elder sister's sleeve and burst into loud sobs. My elder sister said, Stop crying, it's not like it can't be cured. You don't know whether I married Wei Nanting, do you? Is it because you died too early? My elder sister hadn't expected me to be so clever and was momentarily left speechless. Finally, she compromised, saying she would take good care of herself in this life and not let herself fall ill with any nonsense again. I wiped my nose on her sleeve, glaring at her accusingly. She coaxed me for a long time before reluctantly taking me to the largest restaurant in Wangjing. After we had eaten our fill, she took me to pick out jewelry. I forced a smile back onto my face with the help of a peony hairpin. Do I look pretty? As I turned my head, I unexpectedly caught sight of Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu's gaze fell upon my face. Today he wore a plain white robe, adorned with a jade crown, his jet black hair meticulously combed. even more refined and handsome than the previous 2 times we met. After a brief moment of distraction, surprise and pride flickered in his eyes. Chin Anju, no matter how hard you try, I will never marry you in this lifetime. He hadn't finished speaking when I bumped him aside. You're in the way. He staggered from my push but didn't get angry. He looked at me with some helplessness, as if thinking I was throwing a tantrum because my pride was hurt. My elder sister pulled me to her side, casting a cold glance at Xiaoyu. Lord Xia, we have matters to attend to and must take our leave. My elder sister didn't want to engage with him and led me away, yet, looking at Xiaoyu, I suddenly felt an inexplicable surge of anger in my heart. What right does he have to be reborn alongside my legitimate sister? The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. Finally, under Xiaoyu's stunned gaze, I punched him square in the face. Xiaoyu staggered and fell like a white butterfly, his hand pressed down on the shattered teacup, and in an instant, it was stained red, yet he seemed oblivious, staring at me in utter disbelief. Chin Anju, how could you hit me? My next heavy fist was the only reply he got. The emotions that had just been soothed by my elder sister flared up like an exploding boiler. Why did my elder sister have to die so young, and him? Did he live to a ripe old age with his 3 brats? I eat a lot and move a lot every day, so this isn't just flabby fat. I straddled Xiaoyu, landing punch after punch with solid impact. Soon, Xiaoyu had no breath left to speak. Xia family's servants were blocked outside the crowd by my elder sister and her maids amidst the chaos. After a long while, my elder sister finally came to pull me up. All right, Lord Xia didn't mean it. I took the opportunity to stand up and leave, while Xiaoyu struggled to call out my name. His face was bruised and swollen, his hair disheveled, looking utterly miserable, but it must be said, he had a handsome face, which at this moment carried a unique charm. It's a pity I don't like things so dry. Chin Anju, do you hate me so much because you still love me? It's just love turning into hate. I turned around and kicked him. I'm not close with you. Xiaoyu blinked upon hearing this, looking at me with a smile as if he had already seen through my stubbornness. My elder sister sized him up, a cold smile curling at the corner of her lips. She said, "Did you receive the letter I sent from Qingzhou, Lord Xia?" Xiaoyu froze for a moment before suddenly widening his eyes in shock. He was so intelligent, of course he understood. It was my elder sister who was reborn, not me. Only then did he confirm that I was not the Xie Chen who had spent 7 years with him, nor the Chen Anju who had borne him 3 children. Now we are just 2 strangers. I was only annoyed by his harassment. My elder sister and I walked far away, while Xiaoyu remained sitting on the ground in a daze. That night, I had a very strange dream. In the dream, I got married. The small sedan chair swayed all the way to the Xie family's house. The young master of the Xie family was as noble as orchids and jade. With a bright future ahead, all the women envy me. Even my elder sister said I married well. I wasn't particularly happy, just found it troublesome. But if I didn't marry, it would tarnish the Qin family's reputation, affect my elder sister's marriage prospects, and even bring gossip upon my stepmother. Forget it, then marry him. The wedding night, the legendary most handsome man in Wangjing stood before me. I had never really looked at him closely before, but now I see he's indeed quite handsome. It's just that he's a bit too thin and pale, like boiled chicken breast, dry and tough, probably not very tasty. Xiaoyu's cold eyes glanced at me indifferently as he said, "This marriage is not my wish. In the future, I will grant you the honor of being Madame Xia, but do not hope for anything more." Ridiculous. If it's not your wish, why not make it clear to your mother? I rolled my eyes and fell asleep. Xiaoyu, standing by the window, was surprised for a moment before also climbing into bed to sleep with me, but as we slept, his hand found its way to my waist. "You need to bear the Xia family's heir as soon as possible. You just said you didn't like me, and now you want to have a baby with me." My elder sister often says I'm not smart enough. I'm indeed not very smart, because I really can't understand Xiaoyu's way of thinking. Enough, it's inevitable after all. I turned the tables and pinned Xiaoyu down on the bed. What happened later can only be described as utterly bland and uninteresting. His bones were digging into me. He was indeed as unpalatable as chicken breast. When I forced him to comply, Xiaoyu flushed red, seemingly wanting to say I was shameless, but on this bed, I wasn't the only one who was shameless. He got angry and gave me the cold shoulder for a full 6 months. Fortunately, Mother Xie had excellent judgment. I'm exceptionally fertile. I got pregnant right away. Xiaoyu and I treated each other with respect, though he was aloof. He never made things difficult for me. I'm doing quite well, but others don't think so. They believe that since I just got married and have lost my husband's favor, I must be suffering greatly. The turning point in my relationship with Xiaoyu was when I passed by a tavern and casually rescued him while he was being forced to drink, and he repaid me with his body. Just like that, I became pregnant with a second child. The difference was, this time he took extra care of me, truly like the child's father, and like many fathers. He had a close female confidant, Xinxingji, and he were reciting poetry and enjoying wine right under my nose. I didn't mind. The first time I stumbled upon them, I even felt a bit embarrassed. I interrupted their refined pleasure. I hurriedly left. But Xiaoyu seemed to have misunderstood, thinking I was jealous of him. As the matriarch of the Xie family, you should have the magnanimity to tolerate others, he declared righteously. My relationship with Qingji is pure and innocent. You shouldn't have treated her so disrespectfully. He apologized to Xinxingji on my behalf, sending her many gifts worth a fortune. After learning about it, Xia's mother summoned Xiaoyu and scolded him. Then, Xiaoyu turned around and blamed me for it. Late at night, he entered my room and tormented me. I couldn't make sense of it at all. Rewarding me is this act, punishing me is also this act. What kind of gilded mace is this? Life goes on like this. Xiaoyu is clingy and annoying. With sensitive emotions, quick to turn cold-faced, the three children took after him. They knew their father held a high position of power and vied to imitate him, each striving to win his favor. Occasionally, I wanted to say something, but Xiaoyu and Xia's mother always interrupted me. Never mind, anyway, all three of them have the surname Xia. Even without me, there are plenty of people to teach them. I had thought such days would last until my ascension, but unexpectedly. As Xinxingji and Xiaoyu grew closer, everything took a turn. Xiaoyu seemed to have finally made up his mind to divorce me, the wife he never favored from the very beginning. That was truly wonderful. It felt like being imprisoned for 30 years and suddenly receiving a general pardon, finally set free. On the very day of my release, I went and ate 30 braised pork knuckles. The person at the next table was dumbfounded. At that moment, someone approached with a smile and said, "Do you still remember me, miss? That year, on my way to the capital for the imperial exams, I nearly starved to death, and you gave me a braised pork knuckle. I slept until the sun was high in the sky. After waking up, I carefully recalled the details of the dream again. Xiaoyu is really annoying. Wei Nanting is truly delicious. Wei Nanting is quite impressive. He passed the imperial examinations 2 years ahead of schedule. On the day he became the top martial scholar. He avoided the chaotic scuffle under the rankings where families tried to snatch him as a son-in-law, and came to my house. My father was already prepared. He glanced at me behind the screen and said, 'This matter also depends on my Anju's wishes.' I bashfully nodded frantically at my father. My elder sister pulled me out from behind the screen. Wei Nanting blushed when he saw my face. One of us is dark with red, the other fair with red, quite a matching pair. I escorted Wei Nanting to the door. At parting, I secretly took his hand, so very warm, like a freshly cooked bear's paw. I couldn't resist and secretly touched his butt again, so perky, even perkier than a chicken's rear end. The lewd grin on my face hadn't yet faded when I locked eyes with someone. Xiaoyu stared at me wide-eyed. He seemed to have run here. His jade crown was askew, his hair disheveled, and he was panting heavily. With eyes blazing in anger, he demanded, "Chen Anju, what are you doing?" Before I could speak, Wei Nanting spoke up first. "It's not like I'm touching you, mind your own business." As he said this, he took my hand, which I had just guiltily withdrawn, and placed it back on his own butt. How presumptuous. My face burned crimson. Xiaoyu's lips trembled, on the verge of collapse. "Chen Anju, could it be that you've truly changed your heart? How could you do this to me?" I ignored Xiaoyu, bid Wei Nanting farewell, and then shut the door right in Xiaoyu's face, locking away that devastated expression. That night, Xiaoyu climbed over the wall to come here. The dignified young master of the Xie family, who values appearance the most, actually climbed over a wall, under the moonlight. His gaze was fixed intently on me. The bright moon hung high in the sky. "The night breeze is slightly cool," Xiaoyu Dao said. "I should have realized it sooner. Chen Anju, you don't remember me. That's why you could bear not to come looking for me for so long. You don't remember me, that's why you could bear to provoke me with another man, bear to strike me so harshly." I was so stunned that I forgot to nibble on the chicken feet. There's still a braised pig's trotter hidden under my blanket. When I heard footsteps earlier, I thought it was my elder sister coming to catch me having a midnight snack. Xiaoyu continued, very well, if you had memories of your past life, you would surely resent me. It's better to start anew, now. There's still time for everything. The usually aloof young master of the Xie family actually had reddened eyes. His gaze held hope, with relief and excitement still lingering. In this life, let's start anew. I can marry you again. This time, we won't part ways. I froze for a moment before replying, but I didn't prepare to marry you. Xiaoyu froze in place. I said sincerely, I really don't like you. Xiaoyu's eyes suddenly lost their light. His thin lips were tightly pressed together. His face slightly pale, he strode over in a few steps, grabbed my wrist, and shook his head, saying, I don't believe it. In your past life, you loved me deeply, treated me with utmost respect, and we had 3 children together. I scratched my head and asked, then why did you end up divorcing? Xiaoyu fell silent, a flash of regret in his eyes. I was too presumptuous. I thought a wife must be erudite and talented for us to be a harmonious couple. They don't realize that a woman's virtue lies not in her talents, but in her ability to cook and stay by her husband's side. That's what real life is about. I haven't really stayed by your side much either. It was you who insisted on coming to find me. But I didn't have the heart to say it. I was afraid he'd burst into tears right then and there. Xiaoyu frowned and asked, did you hear something about me from your elder sister? I shook my head, unwilling to speak with him further, and directly called out loudly, someone, come quickly, catch this scoundrel. Xiaoyu's eyes widened in an instant. The servants came running upon hearing the news. How could the pampered young master of the Xie family outrun a group of servants? In the end, Xiaoyu was disgracefully pinned to the ground. The Xie family sent many gifts as an apology. All of them ended up in my elder sister's pocket. She said she would keep them for me first, if they became part of my dowry. Then after marriage, Wei Nanting would also have a share. If he turned out to be no good, it would be a loss. I listened in confusion but nodded obediently out of habit. My elder sister sighed and said, with your temperament, you really should be matched with someone who's more cunning. Except for Xiaoyu, I replied. Wei Nanting isn't that cunning either. My elder sister smiled but didn't argue. I never saw Xiaoyu again after that. I heard she was punished by her mother with house confinement for self-reflection. Unexpectedly, it was Xinqingji who came looking for me. She still had that delicate yet resilient appearance, her oval face a full 2 sizes smaller than mine. Miss Chen, I've come to find you just to say a few words. I agreed. My elder sister only said not to engage with Xiaoyu. But she didn't say anything about Xinqingji. She led me into the tea house with satisfaction. While I was cracking melon seeds, she took a sip of tea. While I was eating the mung bean cake, she took a sip of tea. While I was eating grapes, she took a sip of tea. Indeed, there's a reason why some skinny people stay thin. Miss Chen II, you're actually quite clever. He knows that your cousin is only momentarily interested in women like you. If you agree to be with him, he'll quickly grow bored and realize you're not the one he truly wants. What he desires is a woman who can compose poetry with him and share his interests. I stared at her in shock. She even knew about this. Truly a woman of talent. Perhaps the astonishment in my eyes was too obvious, as Xinqingji's imposing demeanor diminished considerably. Ahem, I came to find you, not for any other reason. I just want you to understand this matter clearly and not dive headfirst into it. Otherwise, being divorced a few years later would be a loss outweighing the gain. I thought for a moment and asked, then, do you want to marry Xiaoyu? My blunt words left Xinqingji momentarily frozen. You said Xiaoyu isn't a loyal person. So why would he be loyal to another type of woman? Chewing on the pastry, I asked, somewhat puzzled. Besides, shouldn't a cousin have no say in her male cousin's marriage matters? She's not Xiaoyu's lawful wife. So why is she coming after me like I'm some kind of mistress, as if Xiaoyu were already her possession? Suddenly it dawned on me. Or perhaps, you're the one Xie family has designated. Xinqingji hastily cut me off. Don't talk nonsense. My cousin and I are completely innocent. I'm just here out of kindness to warn you. I let out an "oh." I racked my brains trying to recall the outcome of Xinqingji in my dream. From my past life, as a result, nothing was gained. I went to Qingzhou with Wei Nanting and settled in the place where my elder sister had once lived. Many years later, I received a letter from the capital. The handwriting was Xiaoyu's. the paper has yellowed, as if it had been written long ago. As for the content of the letter, it roughly said, after several night rains, he thought of me and wanted to see how I was doing, but he never found the time. Bandits came from the south, so he had to go and suppress them first, if I were still here. I should have bid him a reluctant farewell and packed enough food for him. Of course, his choice of words was a bit too sentimental. Wei Nanting felt a pang of jealousy after reading it and kept me busy all night. Along with it came a verbal message from Xia's mother. She said, this was what Xiaoyu wanted to give me, but never had the chance to send it out. I vaguely realized, at that time, Xiaoyu might have already been dead. I slapped my forehead, suddenly enlightened. So only those who die early get to be reborn. Then Shinqingji must have married someone else. Shinqingji got up with a dark expression and took his leave. After leaving the tea house's private room, we ran into each other again at the restroom door. Her face turned red, a bit bashful. I let out a satisfied burp. On the day I married Wei Nanting, my elder sister gifted me 18 handsome house servants. Wei Nanting was a live-in son-in-law, so life after marriage didn't change much. I just eat more now. After all, physical exertion has increased, but unexpectedly, Wei Nanting doesn't want me to have children. He said my mother passed away giving birth to me, and he couldn't rest easy. I patted my chest and told him I might be pregnant. He gritted his teeth and asked me how I could be sure. I said, in my dream I gave birth to 3, quantity over quality. Wei Nanting then asked me who the father was. I immediately fell silent. Yet he somehow noticed something amiss. He might be a bit smarter than I had anticipated. This conjecture was increasingly confirmed in the years that followed. His official rank kept rising, far surpassing his achievements in his previous life. Some said, since he was already a great general, why remain a live-in son-in-law? He should immediately return to his ancestral clan and re-establish his own household. Wei Nanting stood by the bedside of the gossipmonger that night, holding a large blade. If you cause any misunderstanding between my wife and me, you shall atone for it with your head. After that, no one dared to speak ill again. By then, his elder sister had already become a renowned businesswoman. She traveled far and wide, living the life she desired. The body that was ruined by childbirth in her previous life is exceptionally healthy in this one. As for Xiaoyu, he voluntarily went to Qingzhou. Before leaving, he came looking for me. The sound of rain was pleasing to the ear. He stood under the eaves not far away, watching me for a long time. He said that in his past life, he died 3 years after our separation. He took on the job of dealing with the water bandits. Those water bandits were about to reach Qingzhou. He went without hesitation. Then he died by the river outside Qingzhou city. Didn't get to see me one last time. Actually, I already knew about this matter. In truth, Xia's mother had come looking for me. Her son suddenly became a different person, coming to see me every day. Naturally, she noticed something was amiss. She accepted the notion of rebirth and quickly grasped the matters concerning Xiaoyu. She said that her son, being arrogant, was bound to take a fall in matters of the heart. It was only natural. She just hadn't expected him to fall so hard. I don't think it's hard. There are many people worse off than him. He just couldn't accept how effortlessly I walked away. Clouds gather and disperse. Wei Nanting and I passed through spring and autumn together. There was no further news from Xiaoyu. The end.